So what is Montessori and why do I need it in my home? Hi, my name is Kristen Anker, your parent empowerment specialist. I help overwhelmed and exhausted moms and dads to bring the joy back into their homes, to create a little more peace and to see eye to eye with their parenting partner, to teach effective discipline skills and positive communication. I help families create a Montessori home, and I'll be doing that in my upcoming workshop, Parenting for Positive Results, Montessori in the Home. So a lot of people will ask me, and sometimes I have a quick answer and sometimes it's a long answer of what is Montessori. And Montessori, it's based on the work of Dr. Maria Montessori. And Dr. Maria Montessori was the first female physician in Italy. And one of the first jobs that she had was working in basically what they were called was insane asylums back then. And she was working in the children's ward, where these children were deemed unteachable. And Dr. Montessori observed them. So Montessori teachers are keen observers of children. So Montessori was observing, and the director of the program was like, see, they can't do anything right. They're playing with their food, they're throwing themselves on the ground. And what Dr. Montessori saw was something different. And she said, these children are playing, these children are being kids. What the problem is the environment. So she studied under two French physicians, Jean Tard and Edouard Seguin. And Jean Tard is actually famous for his work with the girl who was raised by wolves. And they worked with special needs children with special needs. And they taught Dr. Montessori how to teach concepts using these manipulative materials. So when you would go to a Montessori school, you would see these beautiful Montessori materials that are the same in every school. But unfortunately, every school has a different feel. So Dr. Montessori never copyrighted her name, so Montessori is it sometimes can look different in different schools. And there's American Montessori Society and Association Montessori Internationale. So there's two accrediting agencies. You want a school that's accredited by either one of those agencies. So Dr. Montessori studied these children, and then she created this Casa dei Bambini. This was back in 1906, I believe, 1906. And it was the first preschool in Italy, in these slums where these parents, actually similar to like what's happening now with the pandemic, the parents were all working and they couldn't take care of the kids. And these kids were running crazy through the tenants and causing, a lot of mischief and not using their skills appropriately, So Dr. Montessori was hired to create this program. And what happened was just amazing. And the same thing what happened was when she was working in the asylums is the children started to produce better than the normally so-called children, because she prepared this environment, because she observed the child. She knew so much about child development. That's a little bit what I'm going to teach you about today. And yeah, brilliant woman. So I teach parents how to bring it to their house, Montessori in the home. When I first, I worked in Montessori schools for about 12 years as a teacher, and then the director, and then an assistant head of school at a large Montessori school in Massachusetts. And it was there when I started to learn about discipline, because I was the disciplinarian of the school. I wasn't very mean, but I had to learn about discipline. And what I learned later on is a little bit more about positive discipline. But what these parents at this Montessori school, being the assistant head of school, I worked with a lot of teachers and a lot of parents and a lot of kids. And the parents, I had all these ideas for the parents of how to create these routines, and how we do it in the school with ground rules and limits and boundaries and all this Montessori philosophy. And the teachers or the parents were like, oh, my child might look like an angel right now behind these, we had these like mirrors that you could see behind these windows. But at home, it's a completely different story. And I was like, it doesn't have to be that way. So I like to teach these Montessori skills in the home. So what does that look like? I focus on the 4 key concepts of independence, concentration, coordination, and self-esteem, the child's self-esteem. So with independence, what does a Montessori home look like? It's child accessible. You might have a low shelf in your kitchen for their silverware, for their cups and plates and bowls that they would need. You might have the kitchen arranged so that they can open up and take out something in these specific drawers. These are your snacks. Start teaching them how to prepare their own food, getting them involved in the menu, the family menu. Usually a Montessori home is a pretty uncluttered home, and so you try to teach the place for everything and everything in its place. It's hard for me to learn that one. Every day I'm getting better and better at becoming more organized. So anyway, having their things ready. So you want to have a pretty uncluttered place where they know where their shoes are. They are responsible to put away their jacket. They can get the clothes out of the drawers themselves, can fold their own clothes, put them away. All these purposeful work, chores. It's amazing. The next key concept is concentration. So what does that look like in a Montessori home? We're learning from home a lot this year. My children are half in, half out. It's really hard. So creating different spaces within the house, where one space might be that reading nook where they can really concentrate and read. One space is going to have to be that academic desk area, but it's got to be external order breeds internal order. So we want to try to keep it orderly. Teach them how to prepare it for the night before, for the next day. How are they going to learn the best? Some kids might want to listen to music. Some kids might want it to be silent. Some kids might be able to learn on the hammock and read a book on the hammock. Some kids might need to be sitting in a chair, and you might need to be right next to them, or else they're not going to get their 30 minutes of reading it. So every child is going to look a little different, but that's to focus on concentration. And the coordination piece is what I think every parent needs to know right now, and we need to better understand child development and what is age appropriate and what is not. And so that's what I teach parents, is what the developmental levels. So when speaking about Montessori, she discovered children had these sensitive period, or these windows of opportunity. And in that sensitive period, a child will learn something very easily, like the sensitive period for language, the sensitive period for movement. So from birth to age 7, these are sensitive periods. Children should have this freedom with responsibilities. So my kids have freedom throughout the whole house, but there's responsibilities that go with that. So that's a little bit with the coordination piece, and the purposeful work and chores, and teaching them fine motor and gross motor skills, and what did you do to move your body today? So much is needed to be outside, in nature, to be playing, to let them be bored. Let them come up with some fun stuff to do outside. And then the last piece is the self-esteem. So how, we talked a lot about the physical environment, and this piece is the emotional environment. And so it's not just what we're saying to our kids, but it's what the kids are then saying to themselves. Yes, I will help you do that. Oh, that was great. So what they're then saying to themselves, so knowing how to speak using this, they call it nonviolent communication, positive communication. I'm trained in positive discipline, so there's a lot of different ways to have effective communication. So little things like asking a what or how question versus telling them to do something. That power struggle will be there. and using words of encouragement instead of just this praise. Praise could be like candy. Every once in a while, it's okay, but how to use these words of encouragement to build our kids up and to build ourselves up. So if you need any help or support, please look at www.kristenanker.com, KristenAnker.com. And I have an upcoming workshop and a little mini workshop that you can do yourself, and whatever type of support parents and teachers need right now, which is a lot. So bye for now. Thank you.